Hey Clear Lake peeps, Ross England here with Clear Lake Guide Service and your Clear Lake report for the first day of June 2023. Time is flying. Hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend, a safe one. Hope you're all still with us. So here we go. Let's talk about conditions first. Conditions are water temperature starting out in the mornings, we'll call it 70 degrees. Could be 69, could be 71, anywhere in between, but let's just round it off and call it 70 degrees. And then let's also talk about it getting up to 73, maybe 74 in some areas that I've seen during the course of the day. So definitely warmer. It's what happens when you get these, get a little string of days put together that you have air temperatures of a minimum of 50 degrees in the morning. Water temp comes up and it pretty much stays up. It was interesting just coming out of Memorial Day weekend. Almost every year since we've been living here, it rains one day. Not always a lot. This year, any of you who were here, it rained. Actually, Kelseyville got almost 6/10 of an inch of rain. So it was pretty significant. Lightning, thunder, the whole routine. So what did that do to lake level? Well, they continue to drop the lake. So we're looking at what started the week at a little over 7.4. This morning was just a skosh over 7. So between 3/10 and 4/10 of a foot dropped this past week. We had gotten up to 8 at one point. So for all intents and purposes, you can say over the last month, the lake has dropped about a foot. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider how shallow some of these fish have been, dropping a foot, all of a sudden you can't get to those fish anymore. So anyway, that's the lake level. It'll continue to drop. I believe it's probably Yolo County pulling their water out. They're probably, with the amount of rainfall we got and the fact we ended up with a full lake this year, they'll probably get 2.5 feet or something like that. So they can kind of take it when they want. Water clarity, it's gone to heck in a handbasket. Keep in mind, this is going to be a blanket statement based on what I've seen, which is on the upper end of the lake and down, we'll call it halfway down both arms, the rattlesnake arm and the redbud arm. I haven't seen any water that I could see more than about 3.5 feet. Doesn't mean that it isn't out there somewhere, because an area that you go into today that you may only have 1.5 or 2 foot of clarity, you could go back tomorrow and all of a sudden you got 4 feet. That's just the way this lake works. It's just the way all this stuff works. So that's the ballpark figure with water clarity. Is it's not good. It should be good as far as working towards improvement in reaction bite. We're still dinking around with plastics. So, but I've talked to a number of people who've been trying to get a topwater bite going. It's just, as far as anything of any consequence, there's nothing there yet. So, okay. Did I get it all? Yep, think so. Upcoming activities. This will be a big one. Saturday, you've got New Gen team out of Lakeport. At least I believe it's out of Lakeport. And then I'm going to call it this way, but beginning Wednesday of next week, you have the WON Bass California Open that breaks. It starts, day one is Wednesday of competition and runs through Thursday, Friday. So 3 days of competition. There's no off limits other than Tuesday afternoon. They have to be off the water by 3 p.m. So there's really basically no off limits. The field last year, I believe, was pegged at 150 boats. I think that was just, they said once it gets to 150, we stop. I would assume that we're going to get at least 125 boats this year. Hopefully they get a full field of 150, so the people who are fishing it have a good time. So expect people to be here pre-fishing as of this weekend, and having people be here, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days of practice. Then they go right into a 3-day event. So that's the big deal that's coming up. So don't really know how it's going to shape up, but it'll be crowded next week. And if you're thinking, well, good, they won't be here on Saturday. No, they won't be here on Saturday, but there's probably not going to be any easy fish left on Saturday either. The other update that I ran into this morning, which again, this is taped on Wednesday, is I was going to launch at the county park this morning, meet clients there. Lo and behold, got to the baseball diamonds and the road's blocked. So the county park is closed, from what I was told by the person who was there, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Hopefully it'll be done by the weekend. They're repaving the parking lot, the road. I think they're repaving just the parking lot, but there was some pretty potholy areas just before you got to the parking lot. Maybe they're going to patch that up too. I don't know. So anyway, plan on, since this is going to land Thursday, Friday for sure, you won't have access to the county park. So, and that goes for whether you're a boat or kayak, doesn't make any difference. They've got the road closed because they're working on the asphalt. So I do believe that those are all the updates as far as everything that's going on that I'm aware of. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Let's talk about the fishing a little bit. Fishing is not easy. Over the last 3 weeks, I was pretty comfortable with the numbers I was able to post. Majority of them were sight fishing for bedfish. It's what I love to do, and the water conditions were good enough to where I could get around to quite a bit of the lake that I like to fish and could find fish. There's not nearly as many fish up and available as there were, and the water quality, clarity is really gotten, I don't want to call it bad, but for sight fishing, it's poor. A big portion of the areas that I was fishing, we were catching fish in 3 to 5 feet of water. You can't see bottom at 3 feet. So that's kind of out the window. There may be some areas around, but honestly, every time I've tried to head down south to find clearer water, the stinking wind has been blowing. It's literally just been a mess. So haven't been able to monkey around down there. So most of what we're doing is just fishing in areas that we knew we had bedding fish. And it's mostly, a drop shot and a Senko type of deal. At least for me and for the people that I have talked to. Our numbers, because of, having to fish that way, have dropped. We had previous report, we were talking about catching fish up to 20 and even more than 20 fish in a day. And right now, since our last report, we haven't had a day that we've caught 10. I think we had nine today. So, and it's varied anywhere from, we had one day we had 3 bass and 2 10-pound catfish, to today where we had, 9 fish. So it's not really easy fishing. But having said that, it seems like I'm talking to more and more people who are catching some fish. So, there's a lot to be said for that. So that's what's going on here. We'll definitely get a report out for next week. We won't be able to talk much about the tournament because we're not going to have any results to look at. But rest assured, these guys are going to catch them. You know, the good news is the last couple of tournaments, the majority of the field has weighed in a limit of fish, which is great. So, I mean, that's a good sign. And you would expect it with 70-degree water. So some things are starting to go right, and we'll just have to see how the rest of it goes. Those of you interested in weeds and all that kind of stuff, not really a problem around the lake as far as running your boat. We're starting to see them there, you know, as the water drops and the weeds keep growing. They're getting close to touching the surface, but at least in the areas that I have been into, I really haven't seen a lot of that yet. So that's where we're at. That's your report for this week. I hope you have a good week, and hopefully we'll be back to talk to you next week.